A claim a day keeps the VA at pay. Literally, you could do this if you want to. That's one of the things about the VA claims process. We could file a claim, a new claim, file for an increase at any point we want to, at any point in our life. So this phrase is relevant because you have to stay on them. You are not out of the fight until you put yourself out of the fight. Keep fighting. Educate yourself about the VA claims process. Check out my bootcamp at combatcraig.com. Educate yourself about medical evidence. If you can't get it, don't know where to get it, hit up my med team. There's an email address in the description. And it's persistence, learning how to play the game. You served, you deserved. These are your veterans benefits. We all earn them, and that's the sign off. We signed on the dotted line. We go do whatever you want us to do, and then if you hurt us, you're going to compensate us. So that's the framework here. So let's talk about some of the pros and cons of filing a VA disability claim. The decision to increase your VA disability rating, file a new disability claim, file secondary claims, that's all up to the veteran. So there's a lot of people that are spouses or friends of veterans, and we love you for sure. I love you for sure. I think all of us love you. But ultimately, if you have a friend that's veteran or your husband or your wife's a veteran, and you're like, yeah, they need to file a claim. That may be true and probably is true, but it is up to the veteran to actually make that decision. You could help them put it together and all that kind of stuff, but they have to go to the C&P exam. They're the one that ultimately has to jump through the hoops. So, if your veteran isn't ready to go, don't push them. Gentle nudges is good, but at the end of the day, it's his or her call if they want to pursue a claim. So I know this is a conversation with you and your friend or you and your husband, we need to file a claim. There's no we in this equation. It's just him or her, the veteran. So now we have the veteran on board. Before making this decision, it's crucial to understand the pros and the cons because they're going to potentially impact other areas of your life, your income, things of that nature. So let's go over the pros of a higher disability rating. The first one, that's the most obvious, is an increase in your VA disability rating and the benefits that come along with it. So this is probably the number one reason that we file new claims or increases. This one is huge. It could mean going from 10 to 30%, so your dependents are accounted for and you could get paid for them. If you're in one of the higher ratings, it might be getting up to a 70% rating, so you can file a TDIU claim. There's a lot of different combinations of where you're at and where you're trying to go. And it's all good if you win and you get the increase. So that part is a no-brainer, I think, but you definitely need to weigh in the cons as well, because every situation is different. Our disabilities are different. And, you need to do what's best for you and your family and, their livelihoods. Healthcare is another con. As you move up in ratings, you get into a higher priority group at the Veterans Health Administration. So that may be a concern. Also, that's all good. I mean, I'm in priority 1 and, it doesn't feel like priority 1 sometimes. If you're in priority group 9 or 10 or something, I'm sure you're definitely not feeling the love. So that's another good reason. Higher VA rating, higher priority with the Veterans Health Administration. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my bootcamp at combatcraig.com. And then number 3 is actual free health care. So once you get over a 50% VA disability rating, you're covered for everything. And that's something that once you get to the 50% level, some of these conditions, they all need to be treated, but you may only be getting treated for some of your service-connected stuff if you have like 0s, 10s, and 20s. So everything is covered at 50%. And, not all things are worth filing a claim for, but obviously everything is worth getting treated for. Quality of life, we get to live, all that kind of stuff. So those are 3 of the cons that I can think of. Increased disability rating, getting over 50% so you actually get free health care, and then moving up in priority groups as your VA rating goes up. Now let's talk about some of the cons. Depending on what type of claim you file, this could have an impact on your employment. Thing that comes to mind is TDIU. There are income restrictions unless you're in a protected work environment, and other things may happen. Some jobs you can have 100% mental health rating, other jobs you can't. So depending on your current working situation, a higher VA disability rating may or may not, be beneficial for you. Legally, employers can't discriminate against you if you have a higher VA disability rating, but there's certain government jobs, and I don't have the full list here, but certain places are going to do background checks and they're going to find out about your VA disability rating. It could negatively impact you. Another potential con is the impact on life insurance. This isn't across the board, but I have seen it happen. Some insurance companies view a higher disability rating than you have now as a potential risk. So look into that with your life insurance company. And then number 3, which is the number 1 con on my list, is every time you file a new claim, you file for an increase. You file a PACT Act claim, that's probably a new claim, or an increase. Supplemental claim, if you get denied and go back at them years down the road, you always open up your claim. It's not always 100% open, but you're basically saying, hey, here I am again, and they could potentially review every single one of your service-connected disabilities, and you could get a decrease while you're going after an increase. So, if you're trying to go from 30 to 50, and then they see something that you said or didn't say. So a good example is if you don't seek care, they could see that you haven't been to the doctor in 3 years for your service-connected disability, and the VA looks at not going and seeking treatment as you don't have a disability anymore. So there's a lot of different reasons why they send out reduction letters, but just know that up front. When you file a new claim for an increase, secondary claim, presumptive claim, it potentially can open you up to a reduction, and that would suck. Then you have to fight the reduction, get back to where you were, and then go after it again. And this all comes down to medical evidence. If they go and look and see no medical evidence, their automatic assumption is you no longer have a disability. And if you don't have a disability, you don't need the rating anymore. So the way to combat this is make sure you keep going to the doctor. So to defend my current disability ratings, I go 4 times a year. That's just what makes me feel comfortable. Other guys will do it once a year. But the point is, seek treatment for your service-connected disabilities. Make sure you have complaints, even if you're just doing My Healthy Vet complaints. Some kind of medical evidence in a medical record, so there's not a void there. So that's probably the easiest way to defend against this. You know what your deal is. If you haven't been to the doctor, a VA doctor, or a private doctor for your service-connected disability, before you file that claim, go get some evidence in there so you can get yourself protected. So I wanted to go over a couple things, couple pros, couple cons. Basically, it's all good. Just remember, other things can happen when you file for an increase and you get on this one-track mind where you're checking e-benefits and you're stoked, and you should be because you proved your claim, you used medical evidence, and you should be stoked because you educated yourself. You have good things to look forward to. All sorts of things can pop up that you're not prepared for. Prepare yourself the best you can. Build your entire claim up front and get all the medical evidence you need to win your claim before you file it. And then also weigh the pros and cons. They're mostly pros. There are some cons. These things don't happen to everybody. Everybody's different. No 2 disabilities manifest themselves in veterans the exactly same way. There are guidelines, just make sure you go to the doctor is my point here. If you want to learn more about the VA claims process, check out my bootcamp at combatcraig.com. And if you need medical evidence, hit up my med team. There's an email address in the description. They can help you if you're missing a diagnosis, your doctor's not writing down your symptoms, or you don't have a nexus. I'll see you in the next video.